Hey everybody, how you doing? Mark here, out on another wonderful ride. And got a question for you guys. Are you a rider that has or will? I had a Goldwing rider. I used to ride with a Goldwing group years ago. And no, I did not have a Goldwing. I had Angel, but I was friends with a co-worker who was part of a Goldwing group, and her and her dad operated it. And so yeah, one day she just said, hey, you want to join us for a dinner ride? And it's like, sure. And they did them every Tuesday. It was either every Tuesday or every Thursday. They would just jump on their bikes, get together, go for about an hour, hour and a half, and stop for dinner, and then meander our way home. And her dad came up to me and said, so are you a rider that has or will? And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, every rider either has dropped their bike or will drop their bike. And I kind of chuckled, and it's like, yeah, I have. And he said, good for you. And so I want to tell you, of all the times that I have dropped my bike, the first time I dropped Angel, my driveway is not very good. The blacktop is all breaking apart and everything like that, and it's just a top layer of blacktop that's put on top of cement. And in this certain areas, I would get like mud puddles on top of the cement. And one day I got a little too close to the edge, and I hit that muddy spot. Back wheel went out on me, and I dropped it. And I was only going, you know, a couple mile an hour, not very fast at all, so it just went thunk. And then another time I dropped Angel. I went into I think it was Broadhead. Stopped into a gas station, and I had a like a Garmin GPS unit on the bike at the time. You know, phone units weren't a big thing, you know, Google Maps and stuff really hadn't caught on yet, and phones were still pretty primitive. So everybody had individual GPS systems, basically. Oh, let's see, 104. I don't think I want to stay on 104. It can get kind of boring. It's pretty much a straight road. So I'll just see if I can find a road to turn off on. Anyway, so I got into the gas station, and I'm sitting at the pump because I wanted to fuel up. And I'm monkeying around with my GPS, trying to set my next destination, you know, and try to figure out where I wanted to go and stuff like that. And usually what I would do is I would pick some backcountry road that looked curvy and say, yep, I just want to go to that road, and that's what I would do. Well, after monkeying around with it for probably about 15 minutes or so, I was like, okay, I can get my gas now. And I took my key out of my pocket and popped the gas cap. And I always get off my bike when I fill gas. And I wanted to go step off, and I never put the kickstand down. So I go to get off, and I was getting off on my left side, and all of a sudden the bike went, and it's like, oh crap, and I couldn't catch it in time. So basically I almost placed it down on the ground, And then of course I had to pick it back up and put the kickstand down and look like a complete idiot at this gas station. Oh, I should have went down that road. I wasn't even paying attention. Well then, again, I was out towards the Monroe area, and actually I think I might have been down in Illinois, but I was kind of southwest of Beloit, probably a good 30-40 miles away. And I was on a pretty busy state highway. Maybe it was even a US highway, I don't remember exactly. But as I was riding, I went by a road and I could see a sign on the road, but I didn't know what the sign was. And in my head it was like, I gotta turn around and see what that sign was, because it wasn't something that I recognized, you know, in the brief, you know, quarter second that I saw the sign. So it's like, okay, well, I'll just turn around. And I pulled over to the side of the road and I checked my mirrors and everything, and I did this in like the dumbest place I could, and it was on a high banking, high speed curve in the road. And I went to go do a U-turn, and I went up this embankment and I started making my turn in, and with me leaning the bike and the lean of the road and everything, the bike just went thud. Not a good thing to do on a busy state highway or US highway, whatever it was. And my issue was that because it's on this steep embankment for the curve, my bike is really leaned over far. And here I am, I'm struggling to pick up this heavy bike on this curve. Nice little road here. I might stay on this for a little while. I don't even know what the road is. The hills are nice. Huh. Anyway, so luckily for me, nothing came while I was struggling to pick this bike up from essentially a completely horizontal position. No damage done to the bike, but just as I got it up, the tip over sensor had shut off the bike, so I had to completely turn the key, turn it back on before I could restart it. But I got it pushed off to the side of the road before I did any of that. And basically just as I was getting off the side of the road, a big huge semi came roaring around that curve. So I basically got the bike up just in time before some big semi slammed into it. Oh man, that was actually a scary one, just because I knew I didn't have much time to waste before another car came around. Another one happened where I wasn't too far from home, maybe within 10 miles, but again, I was just cruising country roads, you know, seeing where they went. And I was on a road I didn't know, and it was basically the start of summer. Gosh, nice big hills. I like this. And as I was riding, I saw a construction sign, but it was on the side of the road. There were a lot of trees and stuff there, and it was basically covering the road sign. And I know it was a construction sign. And literally just a few hundred feet away was pea gravel. They had just dumped a layer of pea gravel on the road. And it's like, oh crap. Hit the brakes, and you know, on pea gravel you're like, oh, the whole time, you know. Well, I managed to keep it up, and I got through the pea gravel, and it's off. Thank God, you know, I didn't drop it. I kept control of it, so I throttled back up, kept going down the road, and maybe another half mile, 3/4 of a mile down the road was a fairly sharp bend in the road. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to take this, I'm going to really lean the bike into it and stuff. And just as I was getting into that curve, it was like, oh crap, pea gravel. They never put up another sign to state that there was pea gravel there. And so I hit that pea gravel at least at 45 miles an hour. And I was still holding the brake, and I was still trying to control it, but the issue was that it was that curve, and I'm trying to lean the bike in this pea gravel, and I kept on drifting farther and farther off to the side. Finally my tires hit the grass, and it was a fairly steep embankment into the ditch, and I went over that embankment at probably about maybe at 30 mile an hour. You know, if I could have felt more comfortable leaning the bike, I might have been able to save it and make that curve, but with that pea gravel I just didn't feel comfortable leaning it that far. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, I ended up driving Angel off the side of the road into the grassy embankment, and of course hit that grass and went down. Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to turn here. Brooklyn and Albany. Well, I know those towns. So yeah, I've dropped Angel a number of times, and I have not dropped her since. I mean, it's been a decade since I've dropped Angel. Mercy, I have dropped Mercy. It was actually the day I brought her home. I trailered her home because we just got hit with a huge ice storm. Everything was frozen, subarctic temperatures, negative 20 degrees or something like that. And yeah, I dropped her. Let's see. It says that there's a detour here. Do I want to take the detour, or can I go straight? That looks like gravel place there, so I'll take this curve. So anyway, got her up on the trailer, everything fine at the dealership down in Peoria. Trailered her all the way home, and I backed the trailer up down the driveway, and of course Jen's car is in the way, so I cannot get the trailer as close to the garage as I would like. So it's like, alright, you know, I'll just kind of take it easy and do my best, because there's a lot of snow and ice on my driveway. And as I'm taking it off the trailer ramp, the bike is on ice. I'm actually sitting on her, using my feet to get her to go backwards. And I ended up slipping on ice, and I could not get any footing to keep her upright. So I ended up dropping Mercy the day I brought her home. Have not put any mileage on her yet, and I dropped her. Again, it was at least a lightweight fall, and I've got the crash bars. You know, I got the crash bar in the front, got the crash bar on the luggage here, and basically that kept any painted surfaces from touching the ground. So there was at least that. So my question to you guys, have you ever dropped your motorcycle? Low speed, high speed? I don't mean a crash, okay? If you did it in a high speed crash, I really don't want to hear about that. I don't like listening to stories of motorcycle crashes and whatnot. I'm going to turn down County E here, just because I don't know County E. So tell me of a situation you had where you ended up dropping your bike. Because you either have or you will. This is Mark saying thanks again for watching. Always believe heart, soul, mind, and body in yourself. Bye guys.